As a busy mom of 4, I'm always trying to think ahead, to figure out how to make our days run smoother, and to do things that my future self will thank me for. So I spent a couple days this week meal planning and prepping 40 dinners to pop in our freezers, and my summer just got a whole lot easier. As we are spending more time outside this summer, playing in the backyard and going on day trips, I just want to make dinner time as simple and quick as possible so we don't have to miss out on any of the fun. So like I said, I came up with 40 meals that will basically take us through the end of summer, factoring in some vacation time and meals with family and friends. I won't have to plan or even cook dinner for the next couple months. The first meal I started with was 4 chicken pot pies. So I pre-cooked the chicken and then I added some celery and onion to the drippings to make my own broth. And then I finished it all with cream and thyme. Meanwhile, I got some ground meat cooking to make lasagnas. I'm trying to use up some ground venison that we had on hand, but of course you can use whatever you'd like. Some of the meals I prepped did involve cooking ahead of time, and then the dishes will simply need to be warmed up to serve, like these pot pies, but some I simply prepped the ingredients so they can be added to a crock pot, baked in the oven, or thrown on the grill. I also focus mostly on the main component of the meal. That way I can make up some fresh sides on the day of serving. Like I can make rice, pasta, bread, I can roast some veggies or do a salad, and that way I will have something to go along with any of them. These chicken pot pies are definitely a more rustic style, and I absolutely took some help from pre-chopped frozen vegetables to make things even easier. You could of course also use frozen pie shells if you'd like, but I decided to top mine with some homemade biscuits. So I poured on that delicious creamy broth mixture and then I divided my dough. I made 2 double recipes of biscuits and I rolled them out just a little bit thinner than usual so I could get 12 biscuits each to cover the whole tray. Like I mentioned earlier, I broke up this meal prep into 2 days, which is beneficial for many reasons, but when it comes to storage, it was very helpful because the first round of meals were able to freeze solid, and then the next day I was able to stack them up better to save room in the freezer for the next round. My next set of meals were 6 lasagnas, but I'm only counting 5 for the freezer because we had one of them that night for dinner. Lasagna is probably the easiest freezer meal, especially if you take some help from jarred sauce and oven-ready pasta noodles, because it's simply an assembly line. If you're going to make one, you might as well make a few because they freeze and bake so well and are such a crowd pleaser. I decided this time to make ours a little smaller in these 9x9 pans because they are 3 layers deep and they're really filling. And I just find that my family doesn't always go through a full 9x13 pan, so this smaller size works well for us. So that was the first day. I cooked and prepped 9 meals before lunchtime. The next day, I focused more on marinades and prepping a lot of drumsticks and chicken breasts for, again, throwing in the crock pot or in the oven. I started with these large family packs of chicken, which I sliced in half, and I divided into 4 freezer bags to make the easiest and cheapest dinner, salsa chicken. I did 2 bags of a traditional tomato-based salsa, and 2 bags of a green tomatillo salsa. We always have plenty of cheese and sour cream on hand in the fridge, and with summer tomatoes coming, this will be such an easy, delicious meal. Next, I did 2 barbecue marinades for chicken drumsticks. Again, couldn't be easier. I just mixed 2 unsweetened barbecue sauces that we enjoy into each bag, and that's done. Then I made an easy honey soy garlic marinade to pour over 2 more packs of drumsticks. I just did a few cloves of sliced garlic and a 1/4 cup each of the other 3 ingredients. I poured that over the chicken and we were good to go. The last set of drumsticks I'm calling Greek, but really it's just sort of an herbed vinegar-based marinade. I used, again, a 1/4 cup each of olive oil, apple cider vinegar, and balsamic vinegar, and then a ton of spices I had on hand: Italian seasoning, oregano, onion, garlic, salt, and pepper. And now I have 10 easy chicken dishes ready to go. Two of the meals that I have on my plan are ribs, so I have the meat on hand, but they will need to be thawed and seasoned and baked or put on the grill on the day I want to serve. And we like to eat ribs with mac and cheese, so I went ahead and made up 2 pounds of easy homemade mac and cheese to pop in the freezer. My next meal is a crock pot baked potato soup, which, to be honest, I only chose this because I had so many of those frozen potatoes left over, but I did actually wind up making it last night for dinner, and it was really good, and again, so easy. For any soup that I've prepped ahead of time, I don't actually add any broth or cream to the bag. I just keep those ingredients on hand so they can be added the day of. This is just simply a mix of shredded hash browns, matchstick carrots, sauteed onions and garlic, bacon, and seasonings. The day you want to serve, you just add it all to a pot with the broth and let it cook, and then you finish at the end with some cream and a little flour to thicken. The last meal I'm going to prep are some easy traditional meatballs. I'm using a mix of ground venison and Wagyu beef because that's just what I had on hand. And we're going to be getting another half a cow soon, so I'm kind of trying to use up what's left in our freezer. I just added 1 egg for each pound, so 4 eggs, some grated cheese, some salt and pepper, then a handful of dried basil, and some dried minced garlic. You could use fresh for any of these. I'm just trying to make it as easy and quick as possible here. Then I simply scooped them out and laid them on a baking sheet to freeze. And then once they're frozen solid, I can take them off and put them in a freezer bag. And I just need to make some pasta on the day that we want to serve. So here is a peek at the freezer and all the rest of the meals. I say that in quotes, all the rest of the ingredients. So one meal is just burgers. So that's very easy. Just have burgers on hand. I have buns in our deep freezer, which is over here. So I have buns and other bread products, actually frozen. Lots of buns stocked up for the summer. And frozen veggies that I can easily roast. And then there are the ribs that I mentioned before. So just having this on hand, I'm pretty much set for the summer. Kids are playing upstairs. I have some bags of frozen chopped peppers and onions, and that way I can mix that with some sausage and have a really easy dinner. We can throw them on the grill, put them in the crock pot, just very simple. Then I have the barbecue drumsticks, the mac and cheese, salsa chicken. I have the 5 lasagnas stacked up back there. This is all chicken pot pies. I have a loaf of bread. These are the meatballs. And then Greek chicken drumsticks are in there. Whole chickens. That was another meal because that is so easy. I can thaw a chicken, throw it in a pan with some potatoes and carrots that I always have on hand, and that's a really easy dinner. And then that is the honey soy garlic chicken drumsticks, and then I have the baked potato soup at the bottom. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope your summer is off to a great start. If you are new here, be sure to stick around and subscribe. I make a new video every week all about living a beautiful life at home. Take care.